I used to work for a global pharmaceutical company for a few years, and I have to say that a lot of things I did in my job was bullshit. How ironic it is in the world of ever-ending conversations about the threats of technology replacing human labor, there exists a whole system that creates all kind of bullshit jobs, those even more ironic that are often well-respected and highly paid, those that so many people proudly write on their LinkedIn profiles. So what are bullshit jobs? As quoted from David Graeber, the author of the book Bullshit Jobs, a Theory, a form of paid employment that is so completely pointless, unnecessary, or pernicious that even the employee cannot justify its existence, even though as part of the conditions of employment, the employee feels obliged to pretend that this is not the case. In his book, David Graeber uncovered the issue of bullshit jobs in the modern society by soliciting hundreds of testimonials from people who believe that their jobs are meaningless. He categorizes these jobs into 5 categories. Flunkies, people who are there to make their superiors feel important, for example, the doorman or assistants. Of course, you feel 100 times cooler when you have an assistant who buys you lunch and answers the calls that you don't want to pick up. Goons, who are hired because other companies also hire similar positions, for example, internal corporate lawyers, lobbyists. Duct tapers, who are hired to temporarily fix the perpetuated problems that could be otherwise fixed permanently. Box tickers, who are there to create the appearance that something has been done when it's not. For example, in-house magazine journalist, corporate compliance officer, or survey administrator. Taskmasters, very common, who hired to manage or create extra work for people who don't need. And these people, for example, middle manager, leadership professionals, etc. A 2015 survey in the UK discovered that 37% British workers think their jobs are meaningless and don't contribute whatsoever to the society. And a latest survey done in the Netherlands revealed that 40% of people think the same thing. Well, I wouldn't go as far as Graeber to describe these jobs that he mentioned about are entirely bullshit. I would just say that a huge proportion of tasks that people do in the office on a daily basis is bullshit. I only spent a minimum amount of my time on my actual work. The rest was me being in meetings, make a report. PowerPoint slides could take a lot of time, especially when the company makes a fuss about it. Answering BS emails, being interrupted, chasing other people, defending myself for something I didn't do or did do, and snacking. Snacking was the best part though. I often saw people browsing Facebook or online shopping. After being in my first job for a while, I had a realization that most corporate workers could do the same amount of their work in 1/5 to 1/10 the amount of time that they usually spend. However, they always choose to stick to the same old routines that have been there for 100 years, and they rarely ask the question of how to improve the productivity day by day. Another realization I had was the higher the level, the more time people spend in the meeting rooms and the less time people spend on the actual work. Much time in the meeting room was spent to pass responsibilities around or to explain why we don't achieve our targets. At some point, I felt so much time, energy, and effort of so many people were merely put into chasing the numbers. Either that or thinking about some way to shove products into consumers' faces. All of the things I say about customer focus, creating healthy community, or bringing value, blah blah blah, are most of the time just to make sure that people feel justified about the hours they grind in the office to protect crucial numbers dictated by somebody sitting on the other side of the planet. A survey discovers how much percentage of time people put into their primary duties and the rest. We could see a decrease by 7% of the portion spent in primary duties, an increase in administrative tasks, wasteful meetings, and answering emails. In a society where job title is seen as an honor badge that everyone looks at and judges your worth, there's been an enormous effort from corporations to create fancy job titles. For example, transportation manager and senior logistics technician, aka drive deliver truck. Financial consultant, aka sell insurance. Customer experience enhancement consultant, aka shop assistant. Marketing coordinator, do admin stuff in the marketing department. Facility manager, aka clean the floor and make sure the water works. Logistics and supplies manager, aka order stationery. Account manager, aka sell people. If you want to see the most updated and pretentious buzzwords and corporate jargons, LinkedIn is the place. I can't help but cringe every single time I was on there. So we have BS tasks, BS job titles, BS job description. I don't want to mention it here because it would be too long, but if you want, you can have a stroll on LinkedIn and you could find a handful. And even BS company. One BS company that I know off the top of my head is Afterpay. Basically, this company provides financial service for shopaholics who cannot afford the thing they want to buy. So they can use this service to pay later in multiple installments. People, if you cannot pay 10 times the t-shirt that you want to pay right there, right now, in cash, then just don't buy it. It is common sense. The people who are aware that they are toiling away by meaningless tasks, but they must pretend like they are important or else they will lose their jobs, are reported to be miserable. David Graeber used many social science studies to uncover the consequences of bullshit jobs to people's mental health. However, I think he didn't have to do so because most people know at their core how miserable it could be. Another consequence is wasteful use of societal resources. Resources are limited, and hence while a bunch of nonsense jobs get paid significantly to be well paid with the fancy job titles, of course, other jobs that are valuable and necessary to society are neglected. Bus drivers, cleaners, teachers, nurses, construction workers, those, when absent, we could immediately feel the impact. Unfortunately, these jobs often get paid only half of the respect and a fraction of a middle manager's salary. In Vietnam, it's ridiculous how people are obsessed with big corporations. If you work for a company that has no presence globally, you could easily be looked down compared to someone whose boss is from Europe. Of course, there could be many advantages working for big corporations. For example, high salary, fancy office full of expats, extremely competent colleagues, and plenty of snacks. However, a lot of time spent in big corporations is wasted to politics. There's still a surprising number of people who work in those big corporations but don't know why they work there. The bigger the company is, the more time is put into administrative tasks, making reports, and the more bullshit people have to deal with on a daily basis. Such weird obsession with big corporations in Vietnam may stem from the obsession with presentation of wealth and social status. From a personal experience, people don't really care about what you do, but how much you earn and which company you work for, as long as it's global, even if it's Nestle. And because of such obsession with social status, aka job titles, many people are willing to do everything to claim credit, even if it includes doing shady things or badmouth your teammate to your upper management. Now you could imagine that people spend half of the day dealing with bullshit tasks and the other half dealing with bullshit corporate politics and toxic colleagues. David Graeber proposed universal basic income as one of the potential solutions. If you're interested, you could find out more about UBI. However, as an individual, we can certainly do something about it. What we could do is, for example, like I said before, very simple, practice to type faster. Use shortcuts. You don't know how much using shortcuts in Excel, emails, Words, and PowerPoints could improve your life. It's a whole new horizon. Excel is an extremely powerful tool, so make use of it. Look around, see what kind of bullshit reports that you have to do on daily basis or weekly, monthly, quarterly basis. Automate them. Automate repetitive tasks as much as possible. Ignore bullshit corporate politics. The more free time you have in the office and the less energy you put in these bullshit tasks, the more time and energy you have to look at your job in a bigger picture. One thing I've learned is that when I've gained a holistic view about my job and how the company worked as a whole, I had more clarity about my role and what valuable contribution I could make, and naturally I navigated away from the bullshit stuff. People are often scared of appearing as having too much free time in the office because they're afraid of being replaced or fired. However, they also forget that when they have more free time in the office, they could offer to take on more tasks and more responsibilities, and hence increase their worth in the organization. There was a time when I managed to automate 80% of my tasks, and I was so free that my colleagues thought I did nothing. Eventually, I took on more and more responsibilities, and of course more bullshit stuff, but as long as I could do something to reduce or to minimize the time I spent on those things, it was fine. So I just ended up doing things that conventionally nobody ever did, and gained more respect and recognition from my colleagues. And as a result, I felt so much better about my job and had motivation to get out of bed every single morning. David Graeber's book is controversial. Many people disagree with the examples he gives about the bullshit jobs. They argue that these modern jobs are likely to be a cog in a huge complex machine that is very hard to pinpoint their meanings and the importance. Besides, people subjectively thinking that jobs are meaningless doesn't mean that these jobs are objectively meaningless. However, I believe there are significant merits carried in Graeber's work. I reckon it scratches the right itchy spots that many white-collar workers will resonate with. So what do you think about this topic? Please feel free to share with me in the comments down below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!